What I needed was not a new weapon, but a new animal.
A new animal?
Exactly so.
You found one?
Yes. Here on my island, I hunt the most dangerous game.
Most dangerous game?
Most dangerous game? What could it be?
The game I am hunting is all of you.
We are going to hunt you cricket.
What happens if I get caught?
Ooh, don't get caught. Don't get caught. Well, there he goes.
Hunt men? You raving maniac.
Well, conventional wisdom says good fleeing will always be good chasing. But the stats say put your money on the guy with the gun.
And the hunt begins.
Indeed, indeed. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the Most Dangerous Podcast, a show about the many different incarnations of Le Most Dangerous Game. I am Travis Fishburne.
I'm Alex Brunel.
I am Lay Dustin Meadows.
And this week we are covering the soon-to-be classic. It's a modern classic already. The 2024 Paul Feig straight to Amazon Video Jackpot, featuring the likes of Aquafina and Machine Gun Kelly, John Cena, and the rest.
And the rest.
And the rest. Alex, this is I put this upon us.
You did. I would
and-
actually like you to start because I think there's 1 out of 3 positive opinions in this Zoom chat right now, and I would like to start with the upbeat one.
Okay. I personally, maybe I could like recognize that, this is not necessarily a good movie. However, I did enjoy watching it, and I was having fun with it, especially I think the concept, I like it, even though the concept is basically the same thing this podcast always is we're talking about. But, there's a fun spin on it, and I don't think it's necessarily that well directed.
It's not.
It's not, and honestly, I forgot that he directed it until his name popped up at the end. I'm like, oh yeah, he did.
The direction
this.
has no character whatsoever.
Exactly. And I'm like, wow, he's got such a, he doesn't have any like stamp of like auteurism at all to like his stuff.
If you'd put a gun to my head and gave me 10 guesses to guess who directed this after I'd already forgotten it, I'd be dead now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only credit on... Oh, sorry.
Was it like, we know Paul Feig can do action comedies well, because The Heat's pretty fun. Spy is fantastic.
Yeah, I like Spy.
And like, I feel like for the most part, neither of those elements, even on their own, ever really like gels. Like John Cena has some decent bits, and Aquafina has 1 or 2 good things, but I'll get into mine. You finish yours.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, I don't. I just. I think I'm also. I could see where maybe oversaturation. People could be tired of both Aquafina and John Cena. I personally.
That was not the problem I had
great.
with this
All right,
movie.
because I was like, I really like the. Maybe even if it's not that well written at times, I still enjoyed the energy that they had.
That's the only thing I did like was their like kind of chemistry and how much fun they seemed to be having.
Mm-hmm. I like to see them on screen. I like to see, everything they're doing. And
I mean, this is a testament to how much Cena can do when given basically nothing.
Yeah. It like, if you would have asked me 20 years ago, like who probably the second best wrestler turned actor was going to be, John Cena would not have been in my top 5 people,
Absolutely not.
and Dave Bautista absolutely would not have been my number 1.
Oh,
Yeah.
svelte Dave Bautista.
Yeah, slim down.
Nice and trim boy. Yeah, Trav, I'm sorry. Do you have more in your opening
No,
thoughts?
I don't think so.
All right. Dustin, what you said in our text thread, I'm gonna let you say. So please, because it's gonna come out of my mouth if I talk first. So please use your own line.
This movie felt like it was written by an AI. Like that's all I could. Like nothing. Like one or two things. There's a pretty great deep blue sea joke at one point, which I was very appreciative of. And Cena, like in spite of not having a lot, like being given a whole lot, like you were saying, he's able to make something out of it because he is really good. And Aquafina, I don't dislike, but her routine has like worn out really quick on me because I feel like there's little, like this character is no different than the cop that she played in Renfield. Like they are the same exact character.
No, and it's really similar to, it's really similar to everything I've ever seen her do except her role in Quiz Lady, which was specifically, it was like Belushi and Aykroyd and Neighbors casting where her and Sandra Oh are kind of like flipped in what you would assume. Sandra's the crazy one and Aquafina's like the together person. It's the only time I've ever seen her do anything else.
Yeah, and I don't even hate it, but like it's also
I like the shtick.
It's the same as the character that she plays in Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings. Like, it's just like, they all start to, it's like, okay, so your deal is like, you just remark, like, you compare things to things that exist. Like, you do the like, it's very Marvel-y, which, like, I'm so burnt out on, like, that being passed off as, like, legitimate comedy anymore. Yeah. It's like, oh, hey, you look like this thing in popular culture that everyone's like, okay, that's, like I was over that by the time the first season of Velma came out. I was like, this isn't comedy anymore. Like every once in a while, but like when that is the only joke you have, like they're not jokes anymore. They're just you word vomiting like shit from the zeitgeist, and it doesn't mean anything. And I
totally agree.
I wasn't really super invested. Like that's the other thing too, is like there's this huge tonal disconnect where like they're literally being like almost murdered. Like people are trying to kill her, and like she's playing it off super cool. Like she's definitely not in danger at any point. And then like there's this real hard right shift towards the end where her and Cena like are basically talking about their backgrounds and like how their lives had led them to it. And it's like pretty heavy stuff. And it's like none of this feels like real. Like none of this. Like, I don't believe that this happened to these two characters.
For sure.
Like, and like, it screeches the brakes to a halt on a movie that I was already tapping out hard on.
Yeah.
Like,
the Cena backstory, especially when he went through, I'm like, yeah, I could definitely see some AI pumping this out. Like, this is what happens to these kinds of mercenaries in action films.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Is like it steals so many like ideas and story beats from other movies that have done it better. Like, I mean, obviously we've got the whole like Most Dangerous Game, like there's shades of Running Man in here, Hunger Games, like all that stuff. And then like and I don't even hate the idea. Like I think it's actually one of the only unique things that this movie has going for it. Like the idea of like essentially a protection agency for these people is a really cool idea.
I like the concept a lot, yeah.
And then they don't really do much with it. And then like the entire third act takes us to like we see the difference between John Cena, who's like this freelance, who's like the underdog of this, and then we see like the big evil corporation version of it, and there's like and then it still doesn't matter. Like I don't feel anything after like seeing this. Like, okay, we're just like kind of on like a rail ride through this, like
because the whole plot is so on autopilot that it's not even like engaging enough to keep up with to see what happens next. You know what's going to happen next to the whole movie,
and the pacing is so bad. Like it's such a slog. Like and then the Machine Gun Kelly detour, like it feels so just perfunctory.
I dearly. The last time I felt the way about what I'm about to say is after Warren and I watched Population 436, and we're both afraid to turn to the other one and observe that like Fred Durst's performance was like pretty good. But I haven't felt the way about until now when I saw Machine Gun Kelly in this movie, and I'm like, why is that like my favorite part of this movie? I fucking hate this guy, and that's literally the funniest and best part of the movie are the two scenes he's in.
That honestly, that's the thing too. Is like I hate him too, and it's like I sat through half an hour of SLC Punk 2, and I hated him in that. But like, he's not bad in this.
He's pretty
like,
good in this. He has a more natural energy than most of the actors in this movie.
Yeah, like he's doing what he was paid to do. Like I will say, I did also really like I think it's Leslie Baumgartner, the Stanley from The Office.
Yeah, he's funny.
He's great. Like the bit with him at the shitty wax museum is really great.
I liked the shitty wax museum. Some of the gags in there, like
yeah.
Like, I'll get into it.
There's like shades of gags here throughout. Like it's not completely unfunny.
No,
it's just like the comedy and what they're going for seems so inconsistent throughout, and then the action too is like there's a few like decent moments of stuff, but like on the whole, like the action's not super remarkable. Again, it's all stuff that we've seen done better in other movies.
It's by the numbers.
Literally stuff we've seen. Like we've seen a Paul Feig action comedy where somebody gets blown up by their own grenade. Right. And it was better than when that happened in this one.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's plenty of action movies that do the thing where the whole movie's bookmarked or bookended, right? Where it opens up and closes with basically the same action scene.
Yeah.
And there's good ways to do that feel surprising. For example, I think one of the most surprising and most effective instances of this particular thing, weirdly, is in Jingle All the Way, because it literally took me like 20 years to realize that the third act finale is the same as the fight scene in the Turbo Man movie within a movie that in the beginning of the film. And that's a great way to do that. This movie, as soon as the last like chase thing started happening, I just was like, oh right, that makes sense. We're just gonna do the first thing again. That was, that's how it felt.
That reminded me of the other thing that pissed me off about this movie.
What's that?
You only give me 5 minutes of Sean William Scott. Go to hell.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah. Okay. Can I get into my broad shit? So like, I'm baffled at my notes for the opening of this movie, because if you looked at that, you would think that I loved this movie because I did love the opening. Like,
yeah, it's a great opening.
It is. Like, at the very beginning, like, some people call this dystopian, but those people are no fun. I was like, I'm in. That's a great sell for like the first 2 lines of the movie. The score was like aping The Metro by Berlin, and Sean William Scott is like Tom Cruise running down the streets of LA, chased by all the civilians. We got Killer Granny. We have like the pocket version of the cattle gun from No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
And then Johnny Grand comes into the movie, and it's like, what the fuck is this now? And then they're driving down past the Chinese theater, and there's a sign for Robo President 3, impeach this. And I was just like, I'm going to be into this movie. And then by the next scene, I'm just noting stuff that it seems like it's supposed to be funny and just isn't. Like, so many of my notes just are like, rideshare scene now. Funny? Katie wakes up to moldy black water dripping on her face and clothes. Katie rents clothes from Shadi. Funny? Like, none of this was making anybody laugh. And the stuff
comments that she's dressed like C-3PO. This is funny.
Right. Like, that, I should have laughed at that. I didn't. Katie shows up to an acting showcase and pays $400 to perform, but it's only $200 online, but they charge you more in person. Funny? Like, and it sucked too, because the parts that are interesting. Like you said, like this idea of the protection agencies in a lottery purge situation like this. I love the idea that this, like, the tonal thing didn't bother me, because I love the tonal disconnect in like hyper comedies that are also violent action movies. I like that a lot, and I never really have a problem if the movie's telling me that's what it's doing. It's just not funny enough.
Yeah, I think there's definitely times when that can work.
Yeah.
But like I do not think it works in here.
No,
Like,
it doesn't.
Perfect example off the top of my head. I don't know why, but I just thought of Upgrade. Like the first
Upgrade's
scene,
amazing.
that
Yes.
first scene where he lets like the thing take over and he's like apologizing as he's beating the shit violently out of this dude is like there's this huge like kind of shift and like this
Yeah.
disconnect between what's happening and how he's feeling about it works perfectly. This is just like there's none of that really in here.
Totally.
Mhm.
And like
And I would
like the stuff
also-
that's interesting about it is so neutered because the surrounding is such crap. Like I thought the idea of having that's a husband and wife right there, you guys. That's sweet. But the idea of I really like the concept of John Cena's character just being a really nice guy. Like it's the thing. The other shoe never drops. He's just a really nice guy who's really buff and really good at this and just really likes helping people. And there's no ulterior motive. I really like that.
That I thought was like he's a big dopey golden retriever.
Yeah.
Like it and he sells it. Like
he does.
The parts of this movie that work are largely because of how much he commits to that characterization. And like even when he is beating the shit out of people violently, like he doesn't break. Like I'm still like, no, this is like the same nerd who just thinks he should be nice and like is into ninjas that's just like beating the hell out of all these people in like a taekwondo dojo.
Yeah. That I mean like and like those scenes weren't really like he was funny in those scenes, but like the scenario of like, oh, now she's in a martial arts class. Oh, now she's in the yoga class. Like those are like presented as things that are supposed to be like funny conceptually, and they're just not. Like it's never played right. And that's just really what bothered me is like it never launched. It kept doing all the things and never launched.
Like the scene of like all the actors at that audition turning on her, that should have been easily one of the funniest parts of the whole movie.
Absolutely.
And it just like you said, like it never really took off. Like
no,
it just kind of happens, and there's like, hey, we've framed this really funny scenario, but we're not going to follow through on it. So we hope that's good enough for you.
Yeah, it like the whole thing just feels like it. The whole movie is just like willed into existence because just like people with checks were like, this is what we want. You do? You make? We have? And then that just kept being asked until a movie existed. You know?
Yeah, the thing with like her Airbnb host pursuing her is like there's so much like that could have been mined out of that.
And those two characters were funny and just misused.
Yeah.
Like I love the idea of Shadi being like a secret like secretly very effective violent person. I like that idea a lot, and she's really funny when she gets there, but like I would love to have that more of a lingering threat or something. I don't know, something that worked.
Yeah. Her boyfriend, there is one bit like it's after they have the phone strike or whatever at Machine Gun Kelly's house, and he burns his hand. He's like, my hand, how am I gonna press a button to DJ?
That was so good.
Like
he tapped out.
There's little bits of that like peppered throughout, but like just it's not consistent.
Yeah. Did you have something, Trev?
Oh, I mean, we'll go into it with. This has one of the most crazily like stacked on stinger after stinger, plus all of the outtakes.
Let's get into that.
At the end of the movie, and it really showed like a lot of the better takes were on the cutting room floor. Like during that time, like
just divert. Talk about this now.
He had so many things like, "How am I gonna masturbate?" I'm like, "That's a funny line. I wish that was in the movie." And then with her being told that she looks like C-3PO, but the driver doesn't say C-3PO. And she's like, you know, that robot from Star Wars.
That was a really funny bit. Actually.
And then
like
she
her
gives
not knowing who C-3PO is. What was the name? Was she calling him Terrence? Or something?
I forget. There's like some full like British name, and then she says
Terrence Richards or something.
Yeah, and then she says you'll be malfunctioning within a day, you nearsighted scrap pile. And Aquafina's like, you fucking know that, but not his actual name.
Oh man, and like that was another that another thing. So like, there's a plot stinger in the credits too, right? Which is that like, the whole thing was like Katie and Noel are like good people. They win all the money. It's $3.6 billion, and they take over the evil agency, and it's pro bono now. And they open like a martial arts class, and Noel opens a Ninja Turtles themed pizza place and gets sued, and like that all makes sense for everything we've seen before. And they make jokes about like yacht people, like the super rich yacht people, right? And then at the very end of the movie, in the stingers, they seem to be unironically just yacht people now. They seem to have like 100% just like betrayed their characters that we just watched the movie building for the sake of like another shitty joke.
Yeah, a very poorly green screen shitty joke too.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like, yeah, like usually when a movie does that, it's not intentional. It's because it had a shitty writer. But like
Right.
this, they're just like, hey, what if we just 180 them for a joke that really probably isn't going to land, but hey, it's there.
All right, well, I'm gonna read you some of the credits by our writer of this film, Rob Yescombe. And I can't say that this is his career entirely, because maybe he's a script doctor and maybe there's things that he's good at that I don't know. But mostly this is video games. He was a writer on Haze and Crisis 2 and Crisis 3 and Rambo the video game. Video game called The Division, Farpoint, Rime. He wrote Rime? Wow. The Invisible Hours. Is this his first Outside the Wire, I guess, is a movie? This is a movie. He wrote this? He wrote one movie.
Yeah, near as I could tell, because I was curious after. I was like, because I know there's definitely been some dispute regarding shitty movies about whether or not the writer of Borderlands is an actual person.
Is an actual person?
People were having trouble like finding any like substantiated credits for him.
I mean,
and that movie,
Eli Roth would have used a computer to write that movie.
That movie does also feel like it was written by an AI. And again, having seen it, like none of Eli Roth's DNA feels like it's in what made it to the theater.
Well, and Alex, you were just listing off all this guy's credits, and I've not played any of these games, but
yeah,
I am guessing like none of them are comedy games. Like it's weird for him to go from that to like a straight up like comedy. I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah, no, they're like they're action games. There's some fantasy. Like Rime is a fantasy game.
No, and I think I'd only even heard of two of them.
Yeah, like Farpoint, I feel like I vaguely heard of, and like I know the Crisis games.
Crisis is with a Y.
Yeah.
Okay, I know they exist, but I don't know anything about them beyond that.
He wrote Cube, Qube. It's game.
Which I think might be related to Intelligent Cube.
I think it is.
Which was not a particularly. It's a puzzle game. It's not a plot-heavy game. So I was very confused when I saw that he wrote Cube. I was like, how?
Yeah. So that's our director or our writer, and the other movie he wrote is called Outside the Wire. It's from 2021 with Anthony Mackie. In the near future, a drone pilot sent into a war zone finds himself paired with a top secret android officer on a mission to stop a nuclear attack. That sounds like a movie written by a video game writer.
Is that a comedy as well? Or is that like a straight? Okay. It sounds like it still could be.
I feel like
it's in the pocket, this one.
I feel like I'm pretty familiar with Anthony Mackie movies that no one's heard or seen of, and I haven't heard of or seen that one.
Yeah, well, sometimes you do The Falcon and Winter Soldier, and sometimes you do Outside the Wire, written by Rob Yescombe. I really miss the time in American popular culture when you could get excited about something directed by Paul Feig.
Yeah,
I'm looking, right?
It was right after Bridesmaids, and then
I'm going to start with Bridesmaids in 11, because before that, we got Freaks and Geeks, and we have like him trying to like constantly prove that he can do the thing for far too long in his career.
Yeah.
And we all, the three of us know the power of Unaccompanied Minors, 2006.
Yeah,
Um,
Unaccompanied Minors, fantastic.
So we got Bridesmaids in 11, we got The Heat in 13, Spy in 15, followed by Ghostbusters in 16. Now, while Ghostbusters has its problems, none of them are really Feig's direction. It's just like the
No.
movie's sheer existence is really the issue, but Feig's direction still kind of shines. Like, those actresses are allowed to do what they do. They are extremely funny, and the movie feels human and personal in the way that he can bring to what he does when he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the biggest issue with Ghostbusters is just that they're all the Venkmen. Like,
Yes.
there's no real dynamic.
Yeah.
Like, they're all four super funny people, and they are all, like, just clawing to be the obviously funny person in it. So, like, it's the same problem, but to more disastrous effect with The Predator, where every character is the comic relief as well.
Right.
Well, when you,
So, like,
I was
sorry.
reminded when you brought up Ghostbusters. I'm like, oh yeah, another movie that he directed that the whole comedy goldmine is the end credits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The comedy goldmine for me is just the 20 minutes of Kate McKinnon outtakes on the Blu-ray.
Oh, yeah.
That's the goldmine for me. That movie's entire budget and existence is justified by that 20 minutes of outtakes.
Has he done anything between Ghostbusters and this?
Yeah.
So there was a film called A Simple Favor, which I am unfamiliar with.
That's
Travis,
the
do you
one
know
with
this
Blake
movie?
Lively and Anna Kendrick.
Yes,
And
that
Yeah,
is correct.
I do not know that one.
This is a crime comedy, also in the pocket for him.
Yeah. And then he did Last Christmas, which I
Correct.
actually really like.
The one with Amelia Clark?
Yep.
Again,
yes, that's the one.
gun to my head, 10 guesses. I would not have guessed that Paul Feig directed that movie.
Yeah. I feel like there's
George
another...
Michael has a writing credit on it because he
it's,
wrote the
yeah.
song.
Yeah.
And well, I would recommend you watch. And it's
good though. You like that one?
I like it. I
Good for the
mean,
Christmas season.
I would say so. And it also has a revelation in it that contextualizes the movie you've been watching. That I'm like, oh, this is schmaltzy, but I'll take it. And you're
Okay.
also going to appreciate that George Michael credit more.
Okay.
And then what?
then
He's done
The
something
School
else,
of Good
right?
and Evil, which is a movie that I didn't know existed until right now.
I've not heard of that one at all.
But it's another Netflix donger from 2022. It's a action comedy. It looks like a action fantasy comedy, maybe. Best friends Sophie and Agatha find themselves on opposing sides of an epic battle when they're swept away into an enchanted school where aspiring heroes and villains are trained to protect the balance between good and evil. That's so stupid. What, you're gonna go? Good guys and bad guys are not going to the same school. That's a bad concept.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, even Harry Potter didn't lay it out so plainly, even though that's kind of what it was.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
What about Sky High, Alex?
Okay.
Sky High
I take
wasn't
back what I
training.
said.
Sky High wasn't training villains, though. They were
That's
training
true.
heroes and sidekicks.
And then
Yeah.
some just become villains because that's what
That's true.
happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then they were
Okay.
infiltrated by a supervillain.
Thank you for countering Travis's point for me, Dustin. It's
Yeah.
been too long since I've seen
Bet-
Sky High.
Bet you didn't see me being the Sky High enthusiast in the chat, did you?
Nope.
Well, I am, because I actually low-key love that movie.
I do too. I that was the first movie I saw digitally projected in a movie theater, and I went specifically to see it digitally projected. It was weird.
It's the beginning
The
of the
School
end.
for Good and
that
Evil
one.
is 2.5 hours long. I just want to say
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
it's
gross.
unconscionably long.
Who's in it?
I get Kit Young,
You're gonna
Sophia
say-
Ann Caruso,
Oh,
Kate
Anthony Mackie.
Blanchett as a voice, Liam Woon, Rachel Bloom, Rob Delaney, Sophia Wiley, two Sophias, and the main character's name is Sophie. Other people, I mean, those are the top
Yeah,
credited
this
people.
this
like,
all sounds bad.
Adam, the guy. Actually, we have a carryover cast member from this movie, Adam Ray, who played like the douchebag show dad in Jackpot.
Ah, yes.
Patty LuPone, I guess, is probably in a scene. As is, I guess, Kerry Washington and Charlize Theron. This cannot be worth watching.
No, God, that's the other thing. Just like so many of like these like good proven directors are like taking all these streaming deals, and most of it's like just this forgettable schlock.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot to be said for a director making it to the point where they're just a working director, right? Where they're just like, here, do this.
I get it, but you can still make good movies.
Totally agree. Like that, it just bums me out when someone whose career I used to be excited about is just turning out schlock. And it's why I haven't like made it more of a point to see Beetlejuice, even though I've heard I would like it despite all the things I've thought about Tim Burton for the last 15 years.
Same. It's probably going to be on on Max before the end of the year, so
yeah.
I will say one exception for a director who's gotten sucked into the whole streaming movies and not theatrical releases. Jeremy Saulnier's Rebel Ridge that just came out, really solid. And it's a shame that didn't get a big theatrical release because seeing it on a big screen was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, and then like, this is just like a whole other rabbit hole because I'm like, it pisses me off because like Ryan Johnson and like his stuff. I was lucky enough to see Glass Onion and that like special engagement they had that was making a lot of money, and Netflix was like, no more. And it's like, why'd you do that?
Like, it's insane. Like the way they're doing things now is like you're already spending all this money on a model that can't possibly yield you a way that breaks even. So why not spend maybe a little bit more and send it out to theaters and let it run for a while too?
Mm-hmm. And what did I just read today about Beetlejuice? Beetlejuice, actually, like, did I save the article? But
they wanted it to be a streaming.
They wanted to just put it straight to streaming. Like the producers wanted, like the studio just wanted to put it straight to Max.
Yeah.
And
Hocus
Burton
Pocus
really wanted to push it in theaters, so he slashed the budget by a huge chunk in order to get them to agree to release it in theaters. And it's been like their biggest hit of the summer.
Yeah.
If I'm not wrong.
They wanted to dump Romulus to streaming like they did with Prey, and it's become, I think, the most profitable of the Alien movies.
Like, guys, put movies that people want to see in theaters. I'm sorry that my life is in such a way that I haven't been able to go to theaters recently, but that doesn't mean I don't want them there and that I won't go back.
Exactly. And other people are still going to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It also has a certain like quality to it that like, whether or not I saw something in a theater, if I knew it was a theatrical release, I'm like, it has like a little bit of an elevated, like, I want to see this more than.
It's a little bit more lustrous.
Yeah. And another thing that like makes me mad is, David Fincher has this Netflix deal that he continues to work with them. And I'm like, why? They bury your stuff.
That's true. But I mean, like for him, it's because they'll give him a blank check and let him do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
But why Zack Snyder's doing the same thing.
Ugh.
But that's fine. I don't care. Let him do whatever he wants on Netflix.
No, I want that $500 million that he's getting for other shit. Okay. I would like to spend that on other things, please.
I guess.
Other than Rebel Moon director's cut, Rebel Moon Part 2, Rebel Moon Part 2 director's cut, whatever the fuck he's working on now. Go home.
Yeah. Do you know how many yachts we could buy with 500 million? At least one super yacht.
We could be yacht people. Us normal schmucks who nobody listens to their podcast could be yacht people if you, Zack Snyder, chose to not make Rebel Moon. Think about that.
Yeah. Do you know how many movies I could make with $500 million? Because probably at least 100 of them.
I would say I could make 50 at least. Fucking God, so many.
I'm really glad I moved to a city where the industry is on critical condition right now.
At least you're making your own shit, man. At least like you're being able to fulfill your creative heart in that way.
That's true. I got a few more years before that gets ground into the dirt.
Yeah, dude. Try slogging away for 10 years at your passion and just like for 7 of it, it's just like the shittiest shit with like little flecks of like, oh, that was cool. Oh, I was
Oh.
hanging out with Draco Malfoy, but mostly just the shittiest shit, you know.
Oh man, this took a real heavy turn, not unlike Jackpot.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
I
what a
mean,
shitty movie.
ironically, the film is about the main character is moving to Los Angeles and is having this exact same revelation.
True. That was actually that's another. Oh, sorry, Dustin, go.
So this led me to one of the moments that really pissed me off towards the end, when she makes that crack about not wanting to be an actor because it seems like only wrestlers and YouTubers can be successful now. I was like, I understand why this line is in here, but it's also true, and I fucking hate that with everything as terrible as it is right now, this joke made it into the cut.
Yeah, no,
Like-
I agree.
Like, fuck off. Fuck off with that bullshit.
Agree. The thing I just remembered I wanted to call out was like just character work that was totally underserved is like the concept of California doing this and excuse me, a woman being out of state and not watching the news and not reading social media and like having this be a fish out of water thing where you're coming into the purge lottery jackpot situation, totally like that is a hysterical concept, and all we get out of it is her constantly asking what's going on. Like that is such a waste of like this fish out of water theme that could have like perpetrated throughout the film and really elevated it, but just didn't.
Yeah. Well, they even like that thing where she gets confused about what fans are. It's like so many opportunities there too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, all these people rushing is like, oh, they must like, and they even set up she is a former child star.
Yeah.
Like people recognize her at a couple of points in the movie. Like, where the hell was the follow through on any of that? Beyond just, oh, my dad stole the money and left me to deal with my mom. It's like that could just as easily have not been in there.
Right.
Like, because it didn't serve anything. I'm gonna punch some drywall. This movie made me so fucking mad.
So yeah, I'm glad you liked it, Travis.
Yeah, I mean, you're beating me down. I get it.
Travis.
All right, let's.
No. You haven't. I'm
Here.
not trying to shit on your cereal. Like I'm glad you enjoyed a movie, and I don't want to like it's a fine movie. It's not a bad movie. I just it bothers me because like if I'm looking at it on paper, or maybe if I was even watching it on mute, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm into this.
But the thing is, here we're gonna go through some positive things. If you watched it on mute, you would not have gotten so excited as I was when I heard that first note of the MC Hammer Turtle Power song kick in, and I'm like,
that was pretty.
Are they playing this right now? And then John Cena starts rapping to it. I'm like, oh, this is nice.
And I did read that was him that pushed that. That was him.
There are good bits in it. Like
Yeah.
I love that, like, because it made sense. Like his age, he grew up around that era. Like it's like, oh, hey, what if this guy just really liked the Ninja Turtles, like so many of us did? Like there are flashes of really great ideas here throughout. And honestly, I think if anyone but Paul Feig had directed this, I'd probably be less critical of it.
Yeah.
But like, because this very much, this feels like maybe a first-time director at the helm.
Yeah, like if Christopher McQuarrie had directed this in between Mission Impossibles or something, because I feel like Christopher McQuarrie is one of our like current age, like extremely competent but faceless and kind of characterless directors.
Yeah.
Travis, I mean, I think you know his films better than I do. Am I wrong?
Well, if
I'm not
you
trying
say,
to slag off his movies. I'm just,
no,
you know.
but like, I hold him to like a higher standard because, I mean, I don't know where he ends and where Cruise begins, you know, with their like relationship.
There's that too.
So I don't know like how much of the crazy, like superbly intense Mission Impossible action sequences, like you say, like him directing this, I'm like, well, that changes everything. I can't imagine.
Well, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is like, you could take any competent action director and put them in this director's seat, and if they put the amount of effort that Paul Feig seemed to put toward directing this film, we'd get the exact same movie.
Yeah, like who I was trying to come up with, like, who would I have thought directed this? And I'm like the Russo brothers, maybe?
That fits. That fully fits. But that's kind of a negative though, because they
had a big fall from grace
post
too.
Endgame. They're just like, hey, what if we just did overpriced, forgettable shit?
Yeah.
It's like
maybe like a Dexter Fletcher.
Who?
Dexter Fletcher.
I don't even.
Who but it? Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
great.
he's
the perfect guy.
Yeah, he was in The Elephant Man. He was an actor turned director.
Okay.
He did Eddie the Eagle and he did Rocket Man, but like most recently he did Ghosted.
I didn't realize he was still working.
Yeah.
That's kind of amazing.
And that's the thing is, I thought like he was doing interesting stuff until he did Ghosted, and I'm like, what was this?
Yeah, which I also like. I love that Chris Evans like walked away from the MCU to keep doing MCU level like kind of movies. Yeah. It's like, oh, cool, Knives Out. He was amazing. It's like, oh, now we're back to the same old bullshit. He's just not Captain America anymore. Cool, tight.
Right.
No, now he's like doing stuff that's it's like the Kmart version of the thing he was doing.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Red One has me so angry I'm gonna fight God. Like, every time I see a trailer for that fucking thing, it's like, I might begrudgingly watch this when it's on streaming, but like, I'm like, just the whole movie already I'm angry about, and then you give me a yoked Santa Claus. You can't even give it, like, first you took Fat John Goodman away from me, now you take Santa Claus as he is away from me. Fuck you, Hollywood.
Right. Is this the movie I like doing this around the holidays. Should we have a special Red One holiday special where Dustin gets drunk and rails against it?
I mean, I will probably watch it for angry reasons anyway, so we might as well document it for, posterity and the aliens.
I mean, if that's your choice, Travis, I'll always hang out on the podcast. I don't think I've said no, I won't do this podcast because this movie is a piece of shit. I don't think I've ever thought or said that. So, I mean, sure.
I think if we didn't throw in the towel after the Castor Van Dien Most Dangerous Game, I think we're in. I think we're in for a penny, in for a pound, as it were.
Yeah, touche.
Okay, other things I liked about this movie.
What else do you like?
Yes.
Things that I found unpredictable. Say when Leslie David Baker lets her into the wax museum, I thought for sure, and he's like, I think this is immoral. And I'm like, he's definitely like, this is a trap. He's getting her in there because he's going to turn on her. And then that ended up being like, no, he really was trying to protect her.
That's what I thought at first, too. I was like, oh, no, Stanley's going to get her.
I did like that. I mean, like, his character felt like it was in a different movie to me.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I always love when he shows up, though. Like, he's
agree.
like one of like the living embodiments of, there are no small parts.
Mm-hmm.
Only small actors.
He had one of the great outtakes too, with them having sex in the wax museum. We're cleaning up Tom Hanks for weeks.
Keeps me up at night.
That was pretty good. You guys talking about? I gotta tell you after the show because I can't break NDA. But if I'm distracted, it's because of Red.
Somebody cleaning up Tom Hanks.
All right, I would clean up Tom Hanks. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Why not? Tom Hanks should be clean.
I want to throw this out too. Like, obviously, I've only seen Simu Liu in a couple of things. He felt so miscast in this villain role.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he ever really, like, it ever felt like it worked to me.
Yeah. I mean, he got the cool part of it right, but then the parts where
he's like an asshole.
Yeah, I think that like when the first time he like yells in Aquafina's face, I was just
Yeah.
like, oh, that didn't work.
Yeah, I agree with you fully. Like the cool part, absolutely. Like the weird,
Yeah, he's
like
got the suave, like cool dude thing, attractive energy kind of thing. He's got that down.
but yeah, like when he goes like full crass scenery, like scenery chew and Bond villain is like, nah, this ain't it.
Well, that's the thing too. I mean, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, see, is Simu Liu, was he an actor in China before he started acting? Or is he Chinese American?
I think he's Chinese American.
Okay, so I mean, I don't know what his acting career was like before. Like, I don't know what his history was, but it just seemed to me that like if he as an actor is to get to that point, he just needs a director who knows how to push him there, and it was obviously not this movie.
Oh, here it is. Simu Liu is a Canadian actor.
Oh.
That explains why he seems so nice.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Duh. He was in an episode of Pitch Meeting, with Ryan George, the creator, who is also a Canadian.
Okay.
Which is probably how they know each other, because all Canadians know each other.
Yeah, I mean it's a very small country, very
very tiny.
Yeah. So he was born in China and then raised in Canada. All right.
Yeah,
okay.
That tracks.
Yeah, I would have seen him in an episode of Warehouse 13 as a bartender way back in the day.
That's the other thing too. Is like I know I've seen him in at least one other thing that wasn't Shang-Chi and wasn't this, but I am failing.
Barbie?
Barbie, that was it.
I like him in Barbie.
Yeah, he's great in Barbie. He's fantastic. Like everyone is.
I like him in
solid at
Shang-Chi.
Barbie.
I mostly like Shang-Chi. I didn't think that was a bad movie. I didn't think
The
it was
only
a great
the only
movie,
part
but-
I hated of Shang-Chi is just when it does that same thing that all Marvel movies do, where it turns into like a gray, sludgy CGI mess in the third act.
Yeah.
Everything up to that, fantastic. Like I was on board.
The only villain defeat in any Marvel movie I've ever liked is in the first Doctor Strange, where he just annoys him into submission.
Oh yeah, puts him in that time loop. That's so great.
That's the only good way to defeat it. But like every other Marvel ending is who can make a bigger explosion. Like, but this one is just I'm gonna just annoy a god into submission.
Yeah,
and that's the most
great.
amazing thing. That's how Lars von Trier would get himself out of hell. Is he would just like annoy the devil until the devil was like, just go.
Nah, he'd just keep apologizing for the for Hitler, or not apologizing, defending Hitler, rather.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, touche.
Uwe Boll should fight him.
Uwe Boll just got financing for some new movie.
He did.
Like he got financing. That's crazy. Like it's not like a pot of money or people that he's worked with forever. Like he convinced new people to give him money to make a movie. So I'm interested.
Maybe Zach Ward put in a good word for him.
Maybe the Pryor brothers got him in touch with their investors.
There is a new like special edition blue. I don't know if it's a 4K, but there is a new special edition high def release of Postal, which I
saw that.
I kind of want to buy it. It's a shitty movie, but I think it's great.
That is the one with Dave Foley as like the weird uncle cult leader. Yes.
Yeah, and you see his penis.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was, but like Postal as a concept is also like so broad that like it's like I think that was the Postal movie that I watched.
Yeah, I have no recollection of what the plot of the movie actually is. The whole time, I just remember thinking, like, I cannot believe the sheer audacity of this movie's existence.
Yep. Yeah, literally opens with a 9/11 joke.
Unreal. So yeah, I'll see the new Bowl, but we got contractions still to cover.
We'll do this
aspect
before.
of this show.
Yeah.
And you people, you're all astronauts on some kind of Star Trek.
Yep. So for contractions this week, we got a few, and it's a nice little variety. First up on the left, we have Becky Ann Baker. And in this movie, she was Sweet Irene, who was the lady on the bus that stole her watch. And
yes.
So she played Nichani Guide in Star Trek Voyager. And next to her, we have Vanessa Cater. And Vanessa Cater she was one of the blondes who fought her at the first time. And she is primarily a stunt woman and stunt actress, which makes sense why she was like one of the initial fighters. But she worked throughout Picard and was a stunt double and occasionally played like a mercenary here in an episode of Star Trek Picard.
Nice.
Which I think this is the first time we're highlighting somebody from that series.
Nice.
And then
How has Jonathan Frakes not been the Zarov in a Most Dangerous Game?
God
That'd be fun.
That's such a good idea.
Right?
God damn it.
Oh man, there probably isn't, but there should be an episode of Gargoyles where Xanatos hunts people for sport.
Oh, that would be cool. Who's this? I can't even see a face for this third guy, Trav. There's too much motion blur to perceive who this guy is.
I mean, it's the only picture of this guy we got. In this movie, this is Eddie Davenport, who was food truck guy, not in Star Trek, but in this movie. And then this is a screen capture from Star Trek Beyond. Or no, this is Star Trek Into Darkness. And I can't even tell what's happening. I'm guessing like Khan is like beating him up, maybe. Spoilers, Khan's in that movie, everybody.
Yeah, spoiler. The marketing lied to you for Star Trek Into Darkness. Khan is totally in the movie.
Just a little bit.
I just sent you guys a Polaroid that I took of Becky Baker, or Becky Ann Baker during the production of Outpost.
Nice.
After this is in her full decayed corpse makeup from the hallucination sequence. That's so it's one of the best sequences in the movie. It's the one sequence we spent the most time shooting because like Frank, our DP, said to Joe, like, pick 3 scenes that we spend time on. Pick 3 scenes that are the key scenes that we will not shortchange our schedule for. And that was one that he picked, and we shot that scene for like a day and a half.
Damn.
Out of like 19 days on the schedule.
It looked good.
Yeah. And I will say Becky and her husband Dylan Baker, who's also in the movie, who's also a character actor. You'd recognize Dylan Baker.
Yeah. When you said, I'm like, oh my God, Dylan Baker.
Right. And
yeah,
as
treats
sweet,
Dylan Baker.
As sweet and as kind as those two people seem like they may be, as that, you know, from their characters that you've seen on screen, that's how they are in real life. That you wish that these people were the couple that lived next door to you. They are so kind and so wonderful, and they party, and they will stay up late and drink with you.
My heart dropped for a second when you paused between like the way you think. I was like, oh no, don't tell me they suck.
Nope, they are the most. When Becky came up to the top of the mountain that we were shooting a bunch of the movie on, and it's not easy to get up there. It's like an hour ride in a truck and an hour ride down, and she came up just to see what was going on and hang. Like the day she got there, she had just arrived, like just landed and drove over there, and just wanted to see what's going on. Was just like standing around, smiling, watching, like, you know,
that's
dumb
awesome.
shit happen. Like she was the coolest. She's awesome. I have nothing but great things to say about them, and that makes me really happy. So and that was from the good part of my career when I was working on things that I liked. So
very nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, good contraction.
Yeah. I don't know how I've never asked you this before,
shit,
Travis.
I lost my audio. I'll be right back, guys. I'm sorry.
All right.
Okay.
I don't know how I haven't asked you before. How do you find, like, what is your process for finding the contractions?
Oh, the process for finding the contractions. I used to do it what I would call manually, and that was terrible. I don't know
That's
why.
what I figured.
Where I would like go through everybody. I'm like, let's go back and see if there's anything in here. And then I came up with a much better process. Still, if it's like a massive cast like this or with Deadliest Prey, can be time consuming, but you get results instantly, and that's going through Memory Alpha, which is the Star Trek wiki. And, you know, if you just start like typing a name and it comes up, I'm like, oh, yep, this is the person.
Nice.
Sometimes I have to double check because I'm like, is this just somebody who shares this name? And I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, no, that's him.
it's a different Sam Jackson.
You know what? I don't want this to work, but I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to tell me what actors were in the movie Jackpot and also in any Star Trek media, and see what it tells me.
Oh. So Alex is trying to find a way for me to like my workload to be lessened in this regard.
Yeah, I'm trying to help you. Well, the first thing it told me is Aquafina
No.
was apparently a voice actor in an episode of Lower Decks.
She was? What?
That's what this says. I cannot, verify that ChatGPT is correct.
I'm working on verifying. You keep going.
No, all it turned up was Aquafina. She plays Katie and also did this at Lower Decks. And then says John Cena. While Cena has not directly appeared in Star Trek movies or TV shows, he is known for his roles in sci-fi and comic-related projects similar to those found in Star Trek narratives.
How absolutely fucking useless.
I can see why they used this software to write this movie.
Yeah, and Aquafina was not in Lower Decks.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's talking
just
about.
made that up.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. AI loves to, lie all the time.
Oh, I know. It's lied about being able to use very specific software. I've asked if it can use. It actually so it credited Aquafina as playing Queen Paulana, which I've looked up. She's played by June Diane Raphael. Like, it pulled a real character and then just declared it was played by Aquafina.
Jesus.
This podcast is now me arguing with ChatGPT. Aquafina never played a voice in Star Trek Lower Decks. The future sucks. You know what? I had ChatGPT give me a recipe for a breakfast shake that I could put together out of, in powdered ingredients, and it definitely tastes like a shake that AI gave me a recipe for.
Tastes like
which
this
is to
movie.
say very bland.
Okay.
You are correct. Aquafina has not voiced any character in Star Trek Lower Decks. I apologize for the mistake. After reviewing the cast of Jackpot and cross-referencing with Star Trek appearances, none of the main actors in Jackpot have been directly involved. Okay. Are
we going
Can you
deeper?
ask ChatGPT to go to hell?
At least my keyboard clacks, so there's a aural indication that there is action happening.
Like, ChatGPT, why aren't you giving Eddie Davenport any respect?
Okay, so the second person you had was Monique Ganderton, right? That's the middle woman, or no?
Who's that?
Oh no, she plays it. Okay. Because these are so I said excluding main actors in Jackpot and considering all actors in Jackpot, how many have been directly involved in Star Trek movies and TV series? And then it gave me Bobby Lee.
Nope.
Also saying that he plays a character called Ron Docent in Lower Decks. I'm sure that's verifiably incorrect.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm
find
looking
out.
through Monique Ganderton's credits right now to see if...
Yeah, Ron Docent is played by Matt Walsh. And then it says Monique Ganderton, who plays Agent Hoyt, has performed as a stunt double in Star Trek Beyond.
You know what? This is true.
Okay.
Wow. Why did that not... All right, you got me, ChatGPT.
but didn't hit on the really easy Becky Ann Baker. That's like super easy to crawl. So like, I guess here's just another real world example of why you just don't ask the software to do anything real in your life.
Just saying, this is the dangerous direction as predicted in my Academy nominated film Sky Netflix from college.
Yeah.
What
this is telling me is I have to put a memory alpha input page from Monique Ganderton.
Yeah, you do. And now I'm just trying to force information into a fucking computer. Has the actress Becky Ann Baker ever appeared in a Star Trek TV series? No, she has not.
Oh no.
It says.
You had one job, AI.
What episode is she in? This is a riveting podcast material.
She was in Voyager season 3. The episode is called Sacred Ground. I don't know what number it is.
It's all good.
Number 69.
Now it's telling me, yeah, she appeared as a Kyrian magistrate. Okay, so like...
Well,
so why didn't you say her when I asked about Jackpot?
Some days ChatGPT feels like a nut, some days it don't.
Alex is just trying to like...
I'm just going to tell it's not good at
Yeah, you're just interrogating ChatGPT and trying to like get it in a logic loop where it destroys itself.
Oh, hell yeah. Linguo dead?
I closed the window.
Okay.
Well, the issue is, I mean, like, this is a whole other thing, but the issue is just like AI is feeding back on itself. Like, so much of the internet is AI generated content now, and it's relearning its own bullshit. And that's why like image generation is worse. That's why text generation is worse. It's because AI is eating its own tail.
This is like the dumbest version of Michael Keaton in Multiplicity.
Yes. Yes.
I was going to say the serpent that 69s itself, but also yes.
Both are apt and beautiful metaphors.
We're spitting on bugs. It's my favorite line.
Oh, man. Oh, what a movie. I love that movie. She touched my peppy, Steve. She has sex. Andy McDowell has sex with the dumb one. Like, that seems, like, weird. Like, that. Did she think that he was doing, like, a fetish thing? Did she think he was doing a bit?
I don't
You can't
know.
answer.
So many, like,
No.
there's too many questions in the series of events in which that happened that I'm like, really? Okay.
Hey, it's at least as bad as the adult woman that has sex with the boy in a man's body in Jack, so...
Oh, yeah. Oh, right. Oh, God. Yeah, that happens, doesn't it? Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I forgot that
Yeah.
part of Jack.
And in Big.
Yeah, also yes. Although only
And-
one of those is Coppola.
And in Poor Things. Yeah, that's true.
Poor Things is... Yeah, but, like... I'm sorry, like...
That's
Big
well, the Poor
and
Things
Jack
is
are not in the same class of
No.
art as...
for sure. The Poor Things one, you're supposed to make that like intentional, like this is fucked up thing. Whereas
Yeah.
the other ones are like supposed to be sincere in a way that don't look behind the curtain.
Yeah, no, don't. All right, do you guys got anything else on Jackpot? I have like 4 pages of notes and I don't care about any of them. Like it's just you know what I think about. I think about I can't remember who told this story, but it was somebody on the SNL cast talking about the one like trouble they ever had with a host, and it was Mick Jagger, because they try to go through every sketch with the host at a table read to make sure that everything's good before they go into rehearsals, and they just like pitch stuff, and Mick Jagger would just go, "Not funny," and he'd declare that over, "Not funny," over and over again. And that's just what kept happening in my head every time this movie tried to make a joke, was Mick Jagger shouting "not funny."
And then they left
Where was he in the writer's room for this?
Yeah.
I think they could have used him in the writer's room for this, just to keep him on track.
I will say, I wish there was a version of this movie where John Cena was the fish out of water and Sean William Scott was the John Cena character.
I just want more Sean William Scott, man.
Same. I also would have been fine if this whole movie had just been about Sean William Scott trying to survive for 24 hours.
Yeah, make a prequel. Make the prequel
what
that just
happened to
ends
him?
with him dying. That opens up this movie.
Yeah.
You could, I mean, this could, well, it's not as popular as it would have to be to keep being remade like The Purge, where we just get to see different stories in this universe. But
yeah,
ideally, another thing I really liked was the fun makeup job that they put on Awkwafina, where she looked like the man.
Oh, that was a good gag.
That was a good gag.
I mean, and actually, I wanted to say earlier when you were talking about her performance, Dustin, like, I like Awkwafina's shtick. I think she's really funny, but I agree in this movie, it is misplaced and doesn't really work. She's not reined in at all. She's like, nobody's controlled. Feig isn't like controlling anybody or anything. He's just like letting shit happen and moving on.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a person. Like, and even for like an action comedy, like, I don't need to be 100% grounded in reality, but like, if this character isn't afraid of anything, then why do I give a shit? Why should I be afraid for what's going to happen?
Right. I totally get that.
Because like, it's a fucking comedy on Prime. So like, I don't think this character is ever truly in any danger at any point, because they're not going to do that in this kind of movie. And this character is also acting in a way that tells me that that's not going to happen at any point.
You didn't believe that she was going to literally commit suicide to stop Simu Liu from getting the money?
Which, that's the thing, is like, at that point I was like, okay, this is again a huge shift.
That didn't work. Yeah, that just didn't work.
Like, which sucks is like, I don't think that she was bad in that moment, but it didn't make a lot of sense with everything. Like, you didn't think you were in danger when you had a karate school and half of Hollywood chasing you with knives and shit through a wax museum. Like, why do I think this is going to be any different?
Yeah.
In what you were saying about like it tonally being mismatched, the thing that I think doesn't work for it is it's an R-rated movie. There's like plenty of like R-rated humor in it. However, the action and the violence is like, it feels all PG-13.
Yeah.
Like,
every time, like, Michelle even asked me, is like, this has to be rated R. They've said like fuck 7 times in this scene, right? I was like, yeah, it is. And there's no the violence is not there.
For
no blood.
For a movie with this premise, it should be like really fun and gory.
Which also makes me wonder, is like, is that why they have the no guns thing in this movie?
I mean, that could be. I mean, it's also just definitely this movie was made post Rust, so there's just a reconsideration of the use of guns on set.
I get that to a point, but like, it feels like a weird thing to have in, like, just for no reason.
I liked it as a movie rule, because I do think that, like, in a movie like this, guns just make it too easy, and it provides an opportunity for the action to get more interesting, but the movie didn't take that opportunity.
Yeah, that's like, I don't mind it being in there, but they don't give a real reason for it beyond, because it is.
Right.
Like, how about, guns open up the possibility that literally other people that aren't the Jackpot get caught in the crossfire, and then you essentially are just playing Purge rules.
You could have even in this, you're playing with a weird, blue sky dystopian world. You could have made it, hey, in addition to this, guess what? Like, for some weird reason, gun control is like through the roof. And so like guns are like basically outlawed in the United States now.
Right. Like, that would be interesting.
Yeah. Like, there's so many, like, from a set safety, I completely understand it. Like, I get the why of it. For in universe, it makes no sense why it's there.
Yeah. I also have made the observation that like this was like middle of Act 2 or end of Act 2, and like uh Lewis is like it's when she's coming to the fancy agency and she's presenting the whole contract and all this stuff. I was getting real heavy vibes of influence of by Jason Pargin's Zoe novels. Jason Pargin is the guy who wrote John Dies at the End and that book series. His other book series is about this character named Zoe Ash, and those 3 books are Futuristic Violence and Fancy Suits, Zoe Punches the Future in the Dick, and Zoe is Too Drunk for This Dystopia. They're all wonderful, wonderful novels that are kind of take place in like this Las Vegas-y, you know, post-dystopia that this young girl, her dad ran the town, like a, you know, mobster town, like ran the town. He dies, she inherits everything and tries to be like a human being, but run this like law-free crime town. And there's all these, you know, private agencies, and like everything's privatized and everything is legal and all this kind of stuff. And there was like that whole scenario is like, that seems just like lifted right out of Tabula Rasa in these Zoe novels. Which is great. I want to see his work influencing shit. I just want it in better shit.
Yeah.
He's got a new book coming out soon. This Black Box of Doom, or no, I'm starting to worry about this Black Box of Doom.
A+ titles.
Yeah, I think that's I got no more wind on this movie. I think.
Yeah, that's all I've got.
Okay, we're all winded.
Oh, it's a good running time. I'll say that. It's like an hour and 40 minutes. Yeah. 46. It's not over 2 hours.
It's not over 2 hours, but
it is too long.
It's a long hour 46.
But I mean, given that his most recent movie before that is 2 hours and 27 minutes, I feel lucky.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's like, could you ever imagine Judd Apatow making a movie this length?
No.
Yeah. So, speaking of promising directors that have kind of fallen off.
Yeah.
Ayo. Directors who are better off as producers, perhaps.
Also, yes.
So many of them. Okay, let's we'll just move right on and
let's land the plane.
Let's land it. Let's crash it right into the ocean.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my God, the theatrical cut of Knocked Up is over 2 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was. I remember.
That's wild.
So was This Is 40, or at least it felt like it.
And Funny People. So long.
Oh movie. God, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, this is 48, 134, Trainwreck, 125, Funny People, 146. Are you fucked? Anyway.
And so next week we are going to be reviewing the new Judd Apatow movie, King of Staten Island. Wait, oh no, we are we're planning on reviewing. Stay tuned. The '92 Peter Hyams movie, featuring everybody's favorite Jeffrey Jones. And until then, Dustin, where can
pedophilia is Jeffrey Jones?
Yeah, where can people find more of your work?
Me, Letterboxd / Alex Brunel, which I'll update someday, eventually, sometime. I don't know if you want weird, if you want cool parodies of Misfits songs as if they were by angry robots from outer space. Check out misfitsband.bandcamp.com. We have recordings on vinyl records that we sell for not enough money to ever make any profit, but they are very affordable to you, the end consumer. So go check it out.
As an end consumer, I can vouch.
Where else are you going to get a new LP for $15? Come on.
Very true.
Yeah, that's what I got.
And Dustin, how about you?
You can also find me on Letterboxd, Dustin Meadows, and my YouTube channel, Dustin Meadows Comedy. It's where a lot of my short work lives, some of my music. My wife and I are actually going to be having we're in the process of finalizing a Halloween EP. That'll be dropping sometime next month, be available on my Bandcamp as well as on our YouTube channel, or my YouTube channel.
Nice.
Cool. You can find the show at Who Watches Pod. Reach the show at whowatchespodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you think of old ear-faced John Cena. And, until next week.
That was a good joke.
Yeah,
Thanks,
it was
looks
a good.
like an ear. That was a good joke.
Until next week, stay alive and survive.